everybody, it's Samantha from Samantha Designs. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to work on this beauty. This is one of the lovely designs that I colored during the 30-day color challenge in 2021. It was gifted to me in a swap. I can't remember the name of these lovely stamps, but they were all the rage at one time. And I'm going to make some mini slim lines. I got some card bases put together. I got some dies picked out that I think I'm going to use as backdrops and I'm going to end up making 2 cards because I'm going to do my favorite. I'm going to split this girl right down the middle because she's large. She wouldn't even fit on a 5x7. I mean, she's really big. So anyway, I'm going to get some die cutting done. I've got a couple of dies from my stash. This lovely circle that's not exactly a doily, but something similar, and then this background die that I'm going to run through my big shot here, and I'm going to do a couple of different ones for each one because I really want to make sure to get enough to make a little background for some interest down the side of the cards, just so it's not quite so plain. Once I get those done, I'm also going to do a sentiment that I have of awesome, the word awesome, that I'm going to be die cutting with a shadow layer, and then some leaves that are also in my stash that I'm going to use on one of the cards. One of the cards is going to be a Trifold. The other one's going to be just a regular SlimLine card, and so I thought the Trifold would be something fun, and for that one I do use 65-pound weight Recollections cardstock. The other is 110. Then I take my lovely young girl, and she had a little bit of a rough edge over there, so I wanted to cut that off, and then I wanted to make the top and the bottom a little bit more even in the spacing, and then I'm going to measure her and find out what my center is going to be. So I use my T-ruler for that to figure out, okay, how many inches is she, what's exactly half, and then I'm going to cut this lovely young lady right down the middle. Thank goodness she's not real. I would guess I'll be the magician sawing her in half. But anyway, I digress. Yeah, so I did that, and I'm taking my first card blank or card base here, and this is the 110-pound, and you have a hard time getting this to stay closed. So I learned this trick from Kathy Zelski, and I'm just using some double-sided washi tape, and because it's not too sticky, and I'm using that to keep it closed so I can get this put together the way I want it to. So I'm going to use this background stamp here for this one, and I'm just trying to figure out, you know, how much is it going to take, what's it going to look like. And in actuality, it's going to take this one, but I'm going to have to cut it in half to make this work. So also I realized with just that in the background, there was nothing really to kind of define the stamp, so I'm going to use the very same marker. I'm going to get out my Copic markers that I use as the main color to color her dress, and I'm going to use that and my T-ruler with the chisel edge, and I am going to draw a line. Now I thought I was going to freehand it here, then I was like, oh, you're not getting it straight, so I'm going to do the right thing, and I'm going to get my T-ruler out. Now, because I did it this way, this line is a lot thicker than I really wanted it to be, but it still works out. On the other half, I do the same thing, but the definition is definitely smaller on the second half. So I'm just kind of getting things lined up, and I'm just going to use my T-roller to draw my line. And then I got to do one more side, of course, so that it's even, and I'm just eyeballing to make sure it's the same thickness on each side. I think it turned out really, really well, and I'm glad I did it because it does add that little bit of definition that you need. So now I'm gonna see, I like that much better because you have the background, but you have that little, it looks like a matting layer, but it's just a faux matting layer. So again, I'm measuring this, figuring out what is the center point, and I'm going to cut this straight in half as well. Now it takes 2 of them to cover the background of the card, and that's fine, not a big deal. And I'm using my reverse tweezers here and some Elmer's crap-on, and I'm just going to glue this all up and lay this down. because you have to use two different pieces, there is going to be a seam. So you're going to have to figure out how to strategically cover that. So I am able to do that, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Guys, I just want to thank you for hanging in with me. This is a very long video. I get it. I understand. But thank you for hanging out with me. If you like what you see, please think about subscribing. Give me a like. Give me a comment. I love that. I think it's awesome. And I love getting feedback from folks. So, okay, this is the second part. This is the second one. This one, I glued all of it just like I was going to do the other one. I don't know why I did that because I didn't need the whole thing. But I did. Well, it's okay. And I'm just putting little dots of glue along the way. And then I'm going to match these up. And like I said, there's going to be a little area that's going to be a seam. But we're going to cover that up. While that's drying, I'm using that same marker that I used to draw the lines earlier. And for the sentiment that is awesome, for the shadow layer, I'm using that to color that die. Again, I want everything to kind of match. I didn't have any cardstock that really I felt like fit or was close enough to this pink that I thought would be a good match. And then I am using the corner or the side of the marker to try to get all that white covered on the edges. You see a lot of people do this with black, but that white was really showing and it wasn't hitting me the right way. I didn't like the way it was looking. So I just used the side of the Copic marker to try to get the rest of that covered. Now, while I have this out, and even though it's not going to be for this card, I'm going to go ahead and take the Awesome. I'm getting some of the things punched out that hadn't fallen out yet, and I'm same Elmer's glue, going to put some on the back of this, and then I'll set this aside to dry. I think this is probably one of my hardest things, as I get so impatient. I don't always give enough time for the glue to dry. But I did better this time because I did it in stages, and I just said, okay, we're going to make sure it dries really well. Okay, now this is all kind of put together. Again, figured out where I want my young lady to be, and then I'm going to pop her down. I used some double-sided tape to put her down. And then I found some little hearts in my stash that matched pretty well, and so I'm going to use that strategically to cover up that little seam. And it worked out so cute. I'm so glad I did it. I really am. And I'm going to use my favorite Jot foam tape that's thinner than most to pop up the other two hearts. I think that gives it a little bit of dimension, but it's not really too high, and I just really like the way that turned out. And again, I'm using 3 of the die cuts because things just look better in odd numbers when you're doing a design. So now all that's left for this young lady is that she needs some kind of sentiment to the front of this card. So I got out a little strip, and I put up there, "You're fabulous," because she is fabulous. She's gorgeous, with her little crown and her pretty red hair. Oh, love her. I wish I could have had a gown like this. Not sure where I'd wear it. Oh, and I'm actually getting my T-ruler out to try to line this up correctly. I'm so proud. Oh, I didn't eyeball it. Now, the nice thing about the washi is that it's not too sticky, so you can just pull that right out, and you got card number 1. Okay, moving on to card number 2. That's going to be my Trifold card. I have the 65-pound weight. I am going to take a little sliver off of that little sliver. Is not going to make a huge difference. It's just going to make it fold a little bit better. So I'm getting my bigger Elmer's Craft Bond, and I am going to make sure it's going to line up and fold really well, and then I'm going to glue that lovely thing down. I think it turned out really well, so I'm very, very happy with this card too. Alright, here we go. Now we're getting some glue up there. Thought for a minute, I was like, why am I pausing here? Anyway, it's all good. So that's going to close right up. Now for this one, I am going to use the little doily looking, they're not really doilies, I don't know what you would call them, but doily ones, die cuts that I had cut out. They're really thin, and I'm trying to find the center. So again, I found the center, and I'm going to cut this in half. Now if you notice I do that, there is, the center part comes out because it's a nice little swirly and it's not solidly attached. And I was like, oh no, no, but it works out. You can't even tell it on the final card that there's supposed to be a center because it's really kind of covered up by the image. So it worked out fine, and I'm very, very happy it did because I was a little worried at first. So okay, so here's my trifold card. On the front of it is where I'm going to put our lovely young lady, and I'm going to put those little doilies behind, so it looks like, yeah, I'm going to put 3 of them there, and yeah, it's going to just make a nice little backdrop. And again, you're not even going to miss the middle because it's all covered up, so I'm like, oh good, that worked out really well. So again, I'm going to adhere everything down, but first I need to, oh, I am going to adhere it down first. I'm so proud. And I lost my, I'm like, where did I put it? I just had it. Oh, do you ever do that? I do that all the time. But anyway, here it is. Going to get this all glued down, and then we will go from there. Okay, so got all that glued down. It's over there drying. I'm using my tea ruler again in that same pinkish color Copic, and I'm going to draw a border once again so it looks like a faux layer. This time I did better. I made sure it was a little thinner. I liked it thinner for sure. The other one was a little too thick, but because I started out was not measuring. Yeah, I brought that on myself. So there's nobody to blame but me. So again, I'm going to just add this all on the 3 sides. Again, just to give it a little faux border. I think it just kind of makes it look a little nicer for sure. Yeah. Okay, so got her all together. Got all my double-sided tape. I'm going to do my little trick to make sure it's kind of lined up where I want it to be, and pull out each side and get her stuck down. Now, since this is a trifold, I am going to put the sentiment in the middle section. You'll still be able to open it all the way up and put your handwritten message. So I have awesome here, and that I have a clear stamp. I think this is by Hampton Arts maybe, and I'm going to pick the your. So Y-O-U''RE. I picked the right your this time. I have done it in the past where I picked Y-O-U-R, which is not good grammar. That doesn't work. And then I have these little pieces of foliage that I'm going to put underneath it, just to kind of set it off so it's not quite so stark, just one sentiment and nothing else. I thought it just kind of helps set it off a little better. And I'm using the washi tape again to keep the middle part kind of folded while I do this, because I'm going to be brave, and I'm just going to stamp this down with my Memento black ink. Yeah, tuxedo black ink. That was brave of me. So I did decide, I had done 2 of these awesome shadow layers, and really I wish I had colored the second one too, so it didn't look white, but I didn't do that. But I added a second layer just to give it a little bit more dimension. I thought it would stand out a little better, especially since I'm going to put the foliage down, the leaves that are white. I thought, well, that'll probably look better. And I've got to clean my my clear acrylic stamps, man. They're getting so gunky from all the glue from where I put things, put them over top of things so they'll dry. So I'm just trying to pick out what foliage I want, and then once I make that decision, I'm going to get those glued down, and then the awesome, and then that's going to be in the end of that card. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know this was a pretty long video. At the end, I'll show you both cards here, and I hope you'll come back, visit my channel, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and please subscribe. I would love to have you come see my videos whenever I post them. Alright guys, thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Make sure you keep crafting and make a card for somebody so you can send it to them and make their day. Alright, see you next time.